All right, my friends, welcome to episode 174 of Prof and Dev Play Games. This is the Professor Larry at Prof Plays Games on Twitter, and over there is Anthony the Dev at Summer Speak. How was Into the Spider-Verse?
It was incredible.
Fucking awesome, wasn't it? Oh my god.
So here's the thing with this. Everyone has told me it's amazing before.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Right.
And then you go see it, who doesn't like Spider-Man.
Mm-mm.
Or like just doesn't care about Spider-Man.
Don't
Like,
care about
whatever.
Spider-Man. Yep.
Whatever. Clearly you got, or someone told you to go, like, you should go see it.
Brad was telling me, yeah.
Okay. I didn't know if it was Brad or if it was the Kind of Funny guys, because they put up a huge thing on it.
Oh yeah, I heard him talking about it, but
Like an hour and a half.
Yeah, I didn't pay attention to it.
And
But
they're
Brad
like,
was
this is
like,
the best thing ever. But I have other friends telling me, and I'm like, sure, I'll get around to seeing it. I can get around to it. I generally enjoy Spider-Man, but I enjoyed the last live-action Spider-Man, but I didn't think it was amazing. And the last Homecoming, yeah, I thought it was decent, but it's not like the most amazing thing out there. But it's competent, which I can't say that the previous 3 Spider-Man movies weren't really competent and well made. So I just kind of ride by on cinematic Spider-Man. I'm like, sure, if it fits in with the Marvel stuff, I'll go see it, but I don't really care that much. Like, I'm not going to run out and go see Venom. Even though I'm very intrigued by it now because of all the memes that came out of it.
It made so much money, that movie, just because of the foreign box office.
Yeah, the foreign box office was insane for it. And just all the people talking about, clearly no one making this movie actually cared about it. And so it's just, just a complete, like, so bad it's good and weird homoeroticism thrown in.
Oh shit, okay.
Like weird, right. Well, I'm like, I gotta see this now. I've really gotta see this. I was like, what did they make? So I just wasn't really, like, dying. I'm like, I'm gonna go out and see this movie. And then you text me, you're like, this is amazing. Go see it. And that was the final straw. Yeah.
Make arrangements. Go fucking see this movie.
And I did make arrangements. Originally, I was gonna see it, last night. Or no, tonight. I was gonna go out early and go see it and get home. It's recording a day late. But then I was like, wait, why don't I just take my kids? Like, I hadn't watched any trailers, anything, but then I just, like, watched trailer, saw that, like, there's nothing that's, like, insanely... They've seen more intense things already. Mm-hmm. Like, they've seen up through Harry Potter 6. They've seen all the Star Wars movies. Like, they're fine. This is not going to be that big of an issue for them. So I'm like, yeah, let's just go today. We're going to go. My son was like, no, I don't want to go to a movie. I want to stay home and read and relax and be an introvert, which is great that he knows. Like, he already knows. He's like, I was busy with a lot of people yesterday. I want quiet time, my time. That's nice. I'm like, all right. So my daughter, she was like, let's go. I showed her the trailer and she's like, let's do this. And then she's like, who was the girl? And she was all into Spider-Gwen and asked me questions about Spider-Gwen the entire way to the movie.
Oh my god.
And I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, I know the very smallest thing about Spider-Gwen, knowing that alternate universe, alternate story, it was just kind of originally a one-off thing, that it was, that they just did a Gwen Stacy storyline as she got bitten by the spider. That's all I knew.
Right.
So, we get there and watch it, and it ended, and I'm just like, I want to watch this again. Me immediately. Too. Like, absolutely. And I can't stop thinking about it.
Right, me too. I left that movie theater thinking, I don't really buy movies. I'm going to buy this movie as soon as it comes out, because there's so much to it. It's so unique the way that it's presented. You know, it's obviously paying homage to the comic book motif or whatever. Yeah. The way that it's presented, but it's so quick. It's so layered. There's so many references that I missed the first time through.
Yeah.
God, it was just incredible.
But even with all those references and everything, and the story is just good. I'm like, I didn't know how they were going to put this all together. Miles Morales is fantastic. They did that origin story justice.
It's the first time I realized maybe I just don't like Peter Parker, because I am into this Miles Morales. I'm into Spider-Gwen. Those two, like, really. Also, Peter Porker, pretty funny.
Peter Porker. and Spider-Man Noir. punching Nazis, voiced by Nick Cage.
Yeah, isn't that crazy? Nick Cage, man.
Nick Cage, what the? I saw his name pop and I was like, no way. Like, seriously?
Oh, man.
Did you say for the after credits?
Oh, yeah. I say through everything.
So the after credits, and finally I was like, who the hell is this? And then it clicked for me because I had Spider-Man 2099 comics. I have the first issue of Spider 2099. And I'm like, oh my God. This, I cannot. And it's voiced by Oscar Isaac.
Yeah, who is that though? I don't know who that is.
Poe Dameron in Star Wars.
Oh shit. Okay.
And he's done a bunch of other big movies too. Like he's in a lot of stuff. And I'm like, you gotta be kidding me here. Like, there's just, this movie is so good on so many levels. And I sum it up to me, and they keep coming back to, is when they're running out of the snow, like the fortress and the snow and everything and swinging, and they throw a bagel back behind him. It hits the guy bagel. And it says bagel. Yeah. Just briefly for like a number of frames, but I'm like, that says bagel. This movie wins.
That's basically the theme of the whole movie. Just like those kind of small details everywhere. Like it was funny or poignant or dramatic or whatever.
It was very emotional too at times.
Oh man,
Holy
I cried.
crap.
I cried in that movie. I laughed in that movie. I was like, This movie's amazing. Why am I crying in a Spider-Man movie?
First time I teared up was when Stan Lee cameo.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
And just because it's very poignant what he says there. And then, of course, he's died. So I think this isn't the last thing. I think he has a few more cameos.
Oh, really?
That he did before he died. I think he probably has one in Captain Marvel. I wouldn't be surprised. And potentially the next Avengers. But they're running out, but he has a more extended one in this one with his voice. And it's just a very meaningful, like, giving the costume, like, it will always fit. Like, everyone grows into it. It's like, basically but that's what he always envisioned Spider-Man to be whenever he was creating that character there's not just, Spider-Man should be a superhero that anyone can see themselves being that superhero.
Right.
'Cause it's just generally a regular person dealing with regular problems, also with all these superpowers. Now they have more problems. Which fits all of the backstories of these characters in that movie.
Right, and it was just like so interesting to me, just kind of the confluence of events with playing a Spider-Man video game and then going to see this. I have not given a shit about Spider-Man, and now I'm just like, I bought the comic, like the Miles Morales origin story. Like, I want to know more about Spider-Man, and what the hell? What has happened to me?
It's bizarre, and I had to get the little Easter egg part. So Peter B. Parker is the actual Earth 616 comic Spider-Man, Peter Parker.
Oh, he is?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
He's the failed life Peter Parker is the Spider-Man comic that has been going forever.
Oh, okay.
There's only a brief moment because they show what the universe numbers are on one of the screens when they're pulling everybody in, and his is 616, which is
okay. Definitely
the main one, which is hilarious that they're like, yeah, his life sucks.
Yeah. Oh man, I came home, played the video game that night, and I was just like, all right, I'm into this. And I'm getting to the part, I don't know if you care about spoilers.
No, I don't.
Or not. It's getting toward the end of Act 1 where Miles Morales comes into the story. So I'm just I'm playing for that. I want that moment, and I'm just I'm in. Partially the whole thing about Spider-Man was because my brother likes Spider-Man, so I like Captain America. And if my brother likes Spider-Man, I fucking hate Spider-Man. So that's partially stupid. But it's, I don't know, I'm coming around real fast on this character. God, what, just the animation, the trippiness and all the different styles, the anime style for whatever the hell that character.
Penny Parker.
That's it, Penny Parker, and then the Warner Brothers style for basically Porky Pig.
Yeah, Spider-Ham.
Spider-Ham, right?
God, this movie. What? Why does this exist? How does this exist?
I really thought about going again the next day.
I actually thought about it today. I was like, how do I go back? Can I get out to go see this again? I wish the theater on the island I live on was playing it, but it's not. I have to go across.
The way that movies come to DVD or whatever.
I know. It
Blu-ray,
should be soon.
Soon, exactly. It's been out for a month now or whatever.
Yeah. But its take is going, it's weird. You watched it, and watching its box office, it's stabilizing pretty well because there's so much buzz around it.
Yeah.
That people are like, oh, I guess it's not making that much money. But it's kind of its tail is clearly going to be very long because it won Golden Globe for Best Animated Movie, and everyone's now expecting that it will probably get at least an Oscar nomination for Best Animated, if not win.
If not win it, how do you beat that? The animation in that game, in that movie was just so varied, so unique, so fresh.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
No. I can't figure how they got all those styles to look good together.
Well, it's cool, like the background, like style, where it kind of looked like it was 3D, but it wasn't. It's kind of like the comic printing, basically.
Yeah, but if you looked closely, you could see like the comic screen print on everything.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
It was subtle, but it was there. Sometime it would come out more or less. God, there was so much to it.
Well, it's just like, it's the opposite of what you said about Venom. Like, people gave a fuck about Spider-Man, made this movie. Like, they really
clearly did. They cared a lot, and they pulled it off. I will say, Penny Parker, I had to go look up what the hell that was from.
I still know.
It's like it was a one-off issue of like a what-if storyline of this like far future spider person storyline, but it was very Evangelion inspired.
Yeah, well, yeah.
So this one was very like cutesy anime what they put into Spider-Verse. The actual comic that I saw, like the cover and everything, it's very like mature anime, like dark, brooding, like the mecha looks very Evangelion inspired, which is fine. I think reinterpreting it to be more approachable is great, but it was still like, what is this? How did they even know that this existed, and why would this be in a movie? Why would they even be able to look at this and be like, we're pulling that one in?
Yeah, the choices they made, considering there are probably multiple different kinds of Spider-Men.
Yeah. Spider people. I guess people's not even the right thing since we got a talking pig.
Yeah, exactly. Spider beings. But they obviously know the lore pretty well. Yeah,
they know the lore. They've announced 2 sequels. One is going to be a Miles Morales focused one, like an actual true sequel to this. And then one is actually Spider-Gwen focused.
Oh my god, those are the 2 that I want. Yeah.
Well, smart. Or I should say Spider-Women focused, with Gwen being the lead, and then bringing in the other, because there's been a lot of Spider-Women over the years, so they're going to bring those in.
Man, that would be smart to cash in on this, because this is, I feel like it just came out of nowhere. I heard it on a podcast, they're like, Into the Spider-Verse. I'm like, wait, what is that?
Yeah.
And then the buzz was just insurmountable. I was like, okay, I gotta go see this. Like,
you hear people talk about it, and they're like, the Kind of Funny guys were like, whatever. I mean, we know that it's there. Like, they all went into it thinking like, oh, is this going to be, no, maybe it wasn't them, maybe another podcast, but like, they were like, is this actually going to be good? Like, really? And then partial way through the movie, you're like, no, this is good. This is really good.
Almost like a landmark animation. Like it's the touchstone for what I imagine for a while, because there's just so much fresh about it that's just like, I can't stop thinking about it. And it's weird. I don't do that. Yeah. I don't care about movies that much at all, and definitely not Spider-Man. I don't know what's happening to me.
Well, clearly I should just hand you a big stack of Spider-Man comics.
I guess so.
Actually, I don't have Miles stuff. I was not collecting comics at that point.
Yeah. Well, I've got my iPad, so I'm starting to go through.
That's a much better way to deal with it.
Oh, it is. My wife looked at my shelf of comics and said, "Can we do something about this?" I'm like, "I've already switched over to digital." She's like, "Perfect." But this is not the movie podcast, even though it sounds like it. This is Prof and Dev Play Games, so we're going to get into the games we're playing. This episode, we're just going to focus on a lot of the games that we're playing. And we've also started this project every 2 weeks. We're going to delve into our backlog and play one game from our backlog for an hour and just kind of give our thoughts about it. Something that we've had back there for a while that we've been meaning to play, or whatever reason haven't got to it yet, and we're going to give our thoughts on that. But before we get into any of that, Anthony, I fucking hate Monster Hunter World. I fucking hate it.
Why do you hate it?
So, this weekend was a weekend of co-op. We played a Friday night with you, which we'll talk about later. I played Saturday night with my brother, which we'll talk about later. And then yesterday, put Tessa down for a nap, and then Brad texted me and said, "Hey, I can play Monster Hunter World this afternoon. Why don't we play?" I was like, "Okay, well, I just put Tessa down. I got about an hour, 15 minutes or so to play, so let's jump in and do co-op." I could not figure out how to do fucking co-op in Monster Hunter World with my friend Brad. So what happens is we go up to the meeting ground, the top floor meeting area, whatever it's called.
Yeah. The ship, the flying ship.
Okay, and we join a squad together. So I go down to the quest board to make a quest so that he can join me. So far, so good. When I go to the quest board, the only quests that I can make are the top two. One's optional. One's what's the first one? Required or assigned?
Assigned. I think it's the storyline ones. The main
exactly
ones that
right.
You progress through.
So the assigned ones I couldn't make into a quest because it said you can't make this a quest because you've already done this. Like, okay, well I can't repeat that content. Great. So the optional ones are the only one I could repeat. And I only had 2 because I'm only Monster Hunter rank 2. So we repeated one of those, something I've already done, which is fine. We went and killed a monster together. So that was good. Then I wanted to do something new, but I couldn't do anything new. I couldn't advance my storyline with him. The next thing in my storyline when I was running through getting all the exclamation marks was to go on an expedition to set up a new camp somewhere. Yes. Can't bring your friends on an expedition.
That's not a co-op. There's certain missions you can't do co-op.
Right.
And you'll find out there are missions that you can't invite people into until you progress a certain way into the mission.
Well, and that was the other thing. He was like, just start the expedition, go there and send up SOS flare. Okay, great. Go in there, try to set up SOS, says you can't do it yet. It's like,
nope.
Okay, so I only have an hour and 15 minutes. I've already wasted about a half an hour trying to figure this out. I'm done. I'm going to go play Spider-Man. Sorry, we can't do co-op. So I was being a bit facetious when I said I hate Monster Hunter World. I don't. I love the game. But I was so frustrated that I had like a very limited time to do co-op when my baby's sleeping, and didn't work.
My actual thing with it is you need to progress the story farther.
Right.
To get it much more open, where co-op is much easier to do.
Yeah, and that was his suggestion too, and he wanted me to ask you what to do, and that's basically what we came up with. But
yeah, that's what you have. That's what you have to do. You have to progress through the, especially through the early story, a decent amount, because a lot of those early stories are tutorial.
Right.
Not as much as like hit you over the head tutorial, but like setting up a new camp. That's definitely a part of like just showing you how the game works, because you'll be doing that a couple times throughout the game or more.
Do you know how far I should? What hunter rank I should be?
6 was probably a good one.
Okay. Well, I need to do that. I just haven't yet because I didn't want to get started on it before I finish Spider-Man.
No, that makes total sense.
But I can't jump into co-op. Then I'm like, well, shit. Maybe I should barrel through to 6 just to make sure I can play co-op, because it's fun as hell when I'm playing it. But I couldn't do any new content. That was annoying.
Yeah, you need to do that, and you need to be able to start getting investigations.
Okay.
Which I don't know when you get those, but you'll get investigations, which are there's another person down kind of near the person that sells items and stuff, little things down below in the camp. There's a person next to them, or a group of people that will give out investigations, and those are really easy. They're just like, hey, go hunt this monster. So you can select those, and then you can go to the quest board and start them.
Okay.
But they're limited, and they give you additional rewards for doing them. Mm-hmm. They're like their way to grind. Yes, and they're simple to co-op. You like, I'm starting this. Join me. We're going. Like, okay. So that's what. But you need to get to the point where you're getting those.
Yeah. Okay. So we figured out basically that was just too early. So that's, I cut my losses and moved back to Spider-Man.
That's a good plan.
And then my daughter slept for 2 hours anyway. So I was like, well, fuck. But which was great for me.
Yeah.
So that was my my co-op experience with Monster Hunter World. Yeah. Well, and the other thing, I'm still young in that game, so we were bashing on this monster, and then it started to go into another area.
Yep.
So as it was leaving, I was like, oh, I'll loot the stuff here first. I don't want to leave the stuff behind. By the time I finished looting, I'm like, wait, where'd they go? Spent the rest of the time trying to find them, couldn't find them. He ended up killing the monster, and I couldn't get anything off the monster because it was somewhere I couldn't find. I was following the fireflies or whatever they're called, but just didn't get there in time. So live and learn. There's more to learn for me there.
Yeah, it's definitely not. You don't stick around, basically.
Yeah.
The only thing you stick around for, if you break, eventually you'll get to a place where you'll break parts off monsters, like cut off tails or horns or things like that, and you want to loot those after you've broken those parts before leaving the area. But that only takes a very short amount of time, and you generally will get better about understanding traversal through the maps. Right. So you get a much better idea of where the monsters are going and like shortcuts to get there.
Because there's a limited amount of map, right?
Yeah. So yeah, but some of them are very vertical. Especially that first one, you will be surprised because more and more areas will open on it as you go, and it goes up really high. You can go really high into those trees.
Like, I was following the map, and I felt like I was on the arrow where they were, but I was way up. And I was like, this isn't where I'm supposed to be, I think. They're below me somewhere. And then by the time I got down there, it was basically 10 seconds till the mission was over. So, lesson learned. But yeah, that was the finale of my co-op weekend, which was a crazy, crazy co-op weekend. But before we get there, what have you been playing? Where do you want to start?
Well, let's just start with our backlog games.
Cool. Okay.
So I'll start with mine. I opened up Steam, started at the top, just started clicking down. It's like, okay, what do I want to play that isn't? So I've either played it or played it someplace else, or it's a PopCap game. Because there's a few in there, because I have every PopCap game ever released or published by PopCap. And there's a ton in my queue, and I'm like, nope. Just going from the top, and I get down to this game called Consortium. I had to go first, try to remember back, where did I even get this game? Why do I have this game? I bought it at PAX 3-ish years ago. 3 years ago. Probably like 2014, because the game came out, PAX 2015. The game came out in 2014.
So you bought a key? Or
I bought a key at PAX. They were in the Indie Mega Booth.
Okay.
And I had never played it. I knew that it was a first-person shooter game that was very focused on conversation. People had said that it's kind of similar to Deus Ex or System Shock in some ways. So I was like, sure, let's try this. Put my hour into it. I will say the first 45 minutes was boring as fuck. Holy crap. Like, it's just like, I'm like, oh, this is not good. It has conversation, that's great, and you're going through, but you're just mostly like, what the hell's going on? Why do I care about any of this? I don't care about any of this. I don't have a reason to care about any of this yet. After 45 minutes, an event happens that triggers the going like, oh, now I care. Now I understand. Like, we've now hit the point, but why did I have to wade through all these random talking points? I get to, like, they're like, oh, get to know the characters on this plane. So, setting is you're on a plane flying over Bulgaria. A big kind of warplane, has like 3 floors, medical bay, comms-ish area, mission, briefing area, different rooms for all the different people. Everyone's named after chess pieces. So there's pawns, you're a bishop, there's a rook, a knight, whole thing. Like,
that sounds familiar.
That's the Consortium. That's the Consortium. That's how they name the different people that work there and put them into hierarchy. But you're just like, okay, I just talk to people. I'm not doing a whole lot. They tell me to go do a training thing. I do a training thing. It's your basic FPS gunplay. Nothing crazy.
I'm surprised that you said it was a first-person shooter. I was thinking, that's not what I thought Anthony would pick.
I mean, it's very talky kind of thing. I guess the thing is with it, and even after like an hour, so I said 45 minutes, then you finally get that event that's like, oh, I see where this is kind of going now, and I start seeing what this studio is trying to do, which is a lot of the decisions that even that 45 minutes that you made do make a difference on how people are talking to you and treating you. And there's just, the conversations are very important. The gunplay is serviceable when I get it, because by the end of the hour, I was able to do one gunplay thing, still on the plane. I think the entire game, I haven't looked at this, is on this plane.
The whole game is on the plane?
I'm pretty sure.
Huh.
I thought it was going to land, but I don't think we're going to land. I think this is actually, the entire game and story is contained here. And the conceit of the game, the fourth wall breaking thing, is you're actually, and I didn't know how I felt about this when it started, you're actually someone from the future using quantum binding to inhabit someone else's mind in the past on this plane.
Okay.
Which actually is the basis of the latest William Gibson novel that came out a few years ago. Basically, people in the future spinning up alternate realities in quantum mainframes to go back and learn about the past.
Oh, that sounds quite simple.
Gibson does that far better than this game does. As you'd expect.
Right. Hard to compete with William Gibson.
Yeah, but I mean, that book I don't think was out when this game came out. But similar concept. So there's this fourth wall element where you shouldn't know everything that's going on. You're trying to figure it out and piece together this mystery. But mechanically, it's you go around, you talk to people. It does have a timeout thing if you don't choose a response.
Like a Telltale game where like you can choose to say nothing.
Yep, or Firewatch, the same thing. Like that is totally an option where you can just be like, I'm not responding.
The whole game, just don't talk to anyone.
Yeah, and it's the conversation. Not all conversations will time out. I think there are a few that didn't at the beginning, but then you start noticing that it's like they will time out, and you don't get conversation options if you don't look at the person, because you're free to move around while conversations are happening. So you can just walk away if you want to.
This sounds kind of interesting to me.
It is interesting if the writing was just better.
Oh, never mind. Okay.
That's the thing. You get to that point, and I'm like, okay, it got to a point where there's a little bit more. An event happens that triggers like much more like compelling narrative, but I don't feel like the writing ever lives up to what it's trying to do.
Yeah.
And I looked up more on it. So it's done by a company called Interdimensional Games. They were funded by the Canada Media Fund with a grant of $500,000 Canadian in 2010. Took 4 years to develop. It had a failed Kickstarter campaign in 2012, but then they did a second Kickstarter campaign, and it was successful to finish it off. And that's the thing with it. It's like it has very high ideals and what it's trying to be, but the budget is there. It just can't execute on it well enough.
Yeah,
it's all voice acted, which is great. And the voice was okay for the most part. I didn't see anybody that was just flat out bad. There's a little bit of monotone sometimes, but
here in the Wikipedia it says major features of branching stories similar to Mass Effect.
I mean, yeah, you can see that it's trying to do something there. It's just not. It just doesn't have the budget or the time. Like it can't execute it completely.
And you're totally right. It's entirely on the plane too.
I figured it was.
That's crazy.
Again, the budget doesn't. I'm like, they can't. It's where they're spending their resources. It's clear.
Yeah.
Like,
right.
They're spending it on writing and voice acting and just like level design is a long process of like, let's keep this tight in one area. So I don't know if I'll continue playing it. I mean, that's what we're gonna say. There's part of me that kind of wants to, because I don't think it's gonna take that long to get through. But it's also not high on my list of being like, man, I really want to see where this goes.
Well, if you do, the sequel comes out this year.
I do know that they were doing a sequel too.
Consortium The Tower is the sequel that comes out in 2019, it says.
I think it's on early access already.
Really?
Yeah.
It came out September 21st, 2017 in early access. Yep.
And I don't know. I don't know if I care enough. That's the thing. Like, I gave it an hour to grab me. And it really hasn't. Like,
sorry, go ahead.
I don't have characters that I'm like, I really care about these characters. I don't.
Right.
It didn't start with a bang, basically. It kind of started with a whimper.
That's kind of the goal of doing the backlog thing that I wanted to do, is to get into these games we've had for a while and kind of, it's always like maybe like the third or fourth option, and we just don't choose it. We choose the other games we want to play more immediately. But then to get in and see, like, in an hour, is this a game that I want to play more of? And if not, then you can just safely discard it, For me, I played Invisible Inc., which is Klei's game. Yep. I think they did it after Don't Starve, maybe?
It was after Don't Starve. Yeah, wasn't it Mark of the Ninja and Don't Starve?
Mark of the Ninja, then Don't Starve.
And then it was Invisible Inc.
Right, that's what I think the order is. And they've had more since then, I think. Came out in 2016. It's basically turn-based tactics. It's more stealthy.
Yeah.
And it's a game that this whole thing is about playing an hour. For the first hour, I thought it was okay. And the reason why I thought it was okay is I just felt like I was doing what it was telling me to do. And that's because for the first hour, mainly, it's basically tutorial. It's like learning all the mechanics. I think this is a game that when I get into like hour 5, I'm going to fucking love. It's very XCOM-y for me. Tactics, obviously, like grid-based, moving, seeing through walls, using different abilities to like shut down cameras or to hack computers to get resources. I think there are like 10 operators or 12 operators. You can unlock different characters that have different abilities.
Yep.
You start off with 2. I don't remember exactly the characters' names, but kind of just like your general do everything character, and then one who's like more into hacking. I think the first 2, and the goal is basically to get through the level to get to the exit. and I think you're supposed to be getting like dossiers of information or something on this organization, basically.
Yes, that is the basic. Something. Yeah, you're either picking up some. There's usually something. You enter. You have an objective on the map that you're trying to do. You might have side objectives, but you always have to also get to an exit.
Right. For some reason, that whole conceit, and this is not the same gameplay at all, but the game Counter Spy. I don't know if you remember that from like 2014. It's done by some game developers, but also Pixar animators.
Oh.
Or former Pixar. It's a really fun game, really beautiful game. But it's basically you go into these levels. It's like this. The whole conceit is like it's like basically Russia versus the United States, even though it's not those names. Like locked in a Cold War, and you're like breaking into their facilities to steal information and then make it to the exit in time without being detected or whatever. It's kind of like a stealth action game, side scrolling. And that's kind of what this felt like too, where you enter some sort of situation, and you have to like get in, get the stuff, and then get out.
Yep.
And there's just a lot of different moves you can do, like, seeing through walls, opening doors, attacking people from behind, disabling cameras. And I'm sure there's going to be more gameplay mechanics as it goes on. But it's one that it just feels like a slow burn at the beginning, just because it's onboarding you. It has to onboard you in a way that doesn't overwhelm you.
Yes.
And I think that's what's happening to me right now. It's interesting. And it's a game that I want to come back to. I feel like if I can put 5 hours into it, I'm going to really like it.
I think you'll beat the game in 5 hours.
Holy shit, really? Okay. Well,
I don't want to because I was kind of blindsided by this when playing it for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
You don't unlock new operators really in the game that you're playing.
Oh.
You're supposed to keep repeating.
Oh, with new operators.
Because the game has 72 hours. You have like a very limited amount of time.
Right.
To actually beat the game, and you need to fly, so you only can select a certain number of missions that you can do before you have to do the final mission.
Okay.
And then you'll rinse repeat, but you'll have gotten score that helps you unlock new operators that have new abilities and different things you can do and approach things different ways. It's a bit roguelike in that way. Like that's this is not like your huge long XCOM campaign.
Okay.
And I was blindsided by it. I was completely blindsided when I first played this game. By that being like, I beat it.
Okay. So I should sit down for like a couple sittings and maybe get through the first campaign, quote unquote, and kind of you just get your feet wet, I guess, and then want to come back and do it again. Okay. Yeah, hearing that makes me, I don't know if it makes me more or less willing to try again, because I feel like that's when I just get going, but then you obviously would continue with other characters. Okay.
Yeah, and it kind of ramps you into I don't know how many missions you got through in an hour.
2 or 3.
Did you get to the point where you were choosing places with a plane where you wanted to go?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll do a couple more of those, and they do get different levels of challenging. Yeah.
It definitely feels like I've enjoyed what I've played of XCOM, but I fucking love Fire Emblem, and the grid-based tactics kind of games are something that are really interesting to me, and that this one, despite its sci-fi setting, like the whole hacker thing, whatever, is not really up my alley. But the game, like the moment-to-moment gameplay, was super intriguing. I just felt like it was a little too not hand-holdy so much as just like, this is all you can do. Like, do this, now do that. Like, knock on the door, open the door, attack this guy from behind, shut off the camera. Like, it's just telling me what to do, and it's just like I wanted to be in the place and don't tell me what to do, which is where I'm getting to now after the hour.
Yeah, it definitely spent the first bit because there is a lot you can do. And it's just showing you all the things.
Right.
I think if we play a lot, I think this is going to be a common thing that probably will come up when we're playing in our backlog. The first hour of games is you'll very quickly see the games that do it well, and then the ones that drag you out for that hour.
Right.
It's just something I'm also very aware of because of, PopCap's thing was like, be in game. Like, games should be super compelling within minutes.
Right.
Like, if it's not, we failed. We got to start again.
Well, I felt like this one was compelling when I was able to kind of make decisions for myself.
Yep.
But I didn't get there quickly enough. But I understand why they did that. It's kind of the same thing with books. Like when I pick up a book, I commit myself to 50 pages. I will read 50 pages of whatever book I pick up, and then at 50 pages, I will ask myself, is this worth it to continue or not? And then I'll just put it down if it's not. But I try to give it enough of a on ramp for it to invest me in it. And everyone has a different time limit for that. I wonder if we would have different things to say if it were like a 2-hour instead of a 1-hour thing for this whole backlog thing, which obviously we can
adjust later. But I'm curious. Right. But there's still a part of me that's like, you should make your game compelling within an hour. Like, yeah, that's important.
Yeah, something for me. I think maybe for you it's a lower percentage, but I feel like I'm like 60% likely to like pick this up again and try another hour.
Yeah, I'm probably about 40% on Consortium. Only because like there's enough other stuff that I want to be doing right now that it's hard to say, I want to spend more time with this.
Correct.
So we'll see.
Which way I think this is a nice evolution of our like video game book club thing or whatever we did, because sometimes we'd play a game that was good, but we wanted to be playing other things probably.
Yeah.
So now we can just do an hour and have some thoughts. And eventually I'm sure we're going to find some diamond in the rough that we had just not played yet. And just like, wow, I got to keep playing.
Yeah. Got to finish this.
Yeah. And just for the listeners, we're going to do this every 2 weeks. We will play a game from our backlog for an hour and then talk about it on the episode every 2 weeks. So look forward to that. Why don't we move into what other stuff we've been playing?
Well, weekend of co-op, we started with Diablo 2.
And why did we play that?
Because of AGDQ speedrun of Diablo 2.
Yep. Which I told my cousin about, this bail run that you were talking about. And he was, we used to play Diablo 2 together all the time. So he was like, send me a link. I'm like, okay, I'll do it later. I was busy with Tessa or whatever. Later that night, he texts me and says, that was amazing. And I was like, wait, you went and found it? He's like, yeah, of course. I was like, holy shit. He's like, but I was not impressed because it was only a normal run. I thought it was going to be Nightmare or something. And I was like, Jesus. Pro. Okay.
They're starting from a level 1 character. Yeah, it's not going to go through any higher difficulty then.
Right. But he loved it.
But they did it in 2 hours and 25 minutes to beat the game. So that's the thing. And was very detailed in the commentary about
what he's doing and
why he was doing it, and then also where the game is very random. It's a random game, but then on weird ways where the game is also random on like map generation like how it can place things and how acts can be together, and not how the acts are together, but how the maps are built within acts. So like how Act 3 in the jungles, there's actually, if it spawns right, you can skip an entire chunk of Act 3.
And just based on dumb luck.
Yeah, just based on like, hey, this connection actually spawned. So you can skip a big chunk of it, and go to like right to Travanical and then down into Mephisto. So, so I mean that kind of inspired us. We're like, fine, let's play some Diablo 2. I kind of have an itch to play some Diablo 2 after seeing this, and so we did. And it was a throwback. Holy crap!
Oh yeah, wow, the quality of life stuff that is not present.
Yes, not at all. But you got to that I give very much a pass on. There's certain things that I'm like, yep, you have to, the way you pick up things, the way, what was it that was the quality of life that was weird? It was like grouping up was complicated. Like just because you're in a server doesn't mean you're in a group. I forgot about that.
Right. We had been playing for a while and I was just like, why can't I use your town portal? What's going on? Like, and we realized we weren't in the same party. But for me, it was about the skills where they're basically you bind them to like F1, F2, F3, F4, whatever, but you only see one on the screen. And you have to remember like which one was F4. Okay. And then, obviously I put hundreds of hours in this game, so I did all that, but I forgot it over the last 15 years. So, I mean, it's been a long time since I played this game.
And yeah, we played through almost the end of Act 1. We got almost to the last enemy. Yeah. Or the last piece, but I had to I was falling asleep. Yeah. My sweet spot is 8:30 to 10:30, and 10:30 I'm just falling asleep, and it was 10:30 we logged off, and I was asleep by 10:35. Yeah. So definitely got enough playthrough. I was doing a druid, which I hadn't done before, and I was focusing on shape-shifting. You were doing sorceress.
I was doing the ice sorceress, which is just nostalgia for me because that's what my favorite one to play back in the day. But when I was talking to my cousin about it, he was saying that his son is saving up for a Switch. And I was like, yo, Diablo 3 is on Switch. If your son buys a Switch, you should borrow it. You should borrow and play Diablo 3. Yep. But this is where it's actually got me interesting. So we played, and then the next day I started another character,
I've started an assassin just again. I was like, just messing around. And I will say there is definitely, I have opinions after doing this on Diablo 2 and Diablo 3 from playing this. So from Diablo 2, some quality of life stuff that I wish mechanically, I'm like, man, this just needs to change. And where Diablo 3, I think, really improved on Diablo 2. Potion management.
Oh, God,
like
yes.
Health, you just switching to health orbs and having an emergency potion and not having to like refill your belt. No town portal scrolls, just having a town portal ability that you can use as long as you don't get hit. I think are all like that quality of life stuff is very good. Like you said, the hotkeys, the way your abilities show up on the bar. Great. The things that, so there's just a lot of quality of life around that stuff that I really like. The part that I started realizing that I'm like, wow, Diablo 3 really falls down in some way. Diablo 3 is just way too easy.
In terms of
just starting out, it's way too easy.
Yeah, exactly. Because Diablo
2 is not like, you start a level 1 character, it's gonna beat you. You're gonna need to like, you're gonna fear those like special enemies and bosses. Like, they will beat you on the ground if you're not like paying attention to what you're doing.
Right, and I got beat several times. And
Yes.
I was just like, oh, there are real stakes happening here. Versus you're right, in Diablo 3, it just feels like, okay, this is...
You don't get those stakes until
but...
much farther into the game.
Mm-hmm.
Like, not even in normal. Like, you have to get up to, like, high-level torment runs before you start feeling like, oh, crap, this is really challenging, I died. And a lot of times in Diablo 3, it's actually more binary of, I'm doing fine, oh, instantly I'm dead.
Right.
Yeah,
you really have to manage your health, because I'm looking at my health orb, and it's just going down and down and down. I was like, being so used to Diablo 3 now, I was thinking, wait, what's happening? I'm just eating through my potions, and like I had to be more careful about how I attack and where I jump into.
Yes.
Which actually made me, like, my mind just more engaged in what was happening.
Yep.
As opposed to Diablo 3, it's more kind of like a clicky.
Diablo 3 is a pure power fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
Just kill swaths of things. It had a different outset of what it was trying to do. And really, it's probably been better from a onboarding a larger audience.
Right. Oh, totally.
But I do find the gameplay of Diablo 2, if it had the quality of life fixes that I've talked about there, I'm like, God, this game would be amazing. It still would be amazing. And
that's why I'm hoping for the remaster. Like, the remaster would fix a lot of those things, man.
You think? I mean, I would hope that they would do it. And it's sad that, like, Path of Exile was trying to be a more Diablo 2 style game. Grim Dawn, same thing.
Mm-hmm.
But they don't fix the quality of life stuff. Like, they're still both games where you just chug tons of potions.
Yeah.
All the time. Path of Exile, less because of how they've changed the potion system.
Mm-hmm.
But you're still expected to chug a bunch of potions because there aren't health orbs. There aren't ways to regain your health unless you have lifesteal or something going on, or you use potions. But there's something where I'm like, there has to be a game that would actually blend these better. Of, yeah, it's still hard, but you have limited resources in a fight to deal with, but you can't jump back to town. You just have to figure out how to beat this boss with the resources you have.
I almost feel like it's something that hits in the Dark Souls games, where
where
your resource is your stamina.
Yep.
I mean, obviously you have health, but really you're managing your stamina more than your health orb.
Yeah,
because it's not fun to manage a health orb, like to stare at this red orb and make sure that I have it filled up, and just like going into inventory constantly and bringing up the potions. But at the same time, like it just makes me be more strategic, which I'm definitely not strategic in Diablo 3.
No,
for the most
you're
part.
not. You don't need to be.
Right.
So yeah, there's definitely a part of me that wants, it just basically goes back to that there isn't the game that I really truly want post Diablo 2. I like Diablo 3 and I think it's a fine game. It's just not what I would consider the game I'd want after Diablo 2. Exactly.
Right.
And no one's made it. And maybe that means I should go write it up and figure out how I'd make something like that.
Hey, that sounds great.
Because that will be easy. But
just knock out in a weekend.
Exactly. I mean, I can just use asset store stuff. I mean, I can get this going.
Epic Games will just pay you to make games. Just go ahead.
Exactly. But it has got me thinking about that stuff again, and like what I find really compelling about Diablo 2 compared to Diablo 3, and where I feel like Diablo 3 improved on the design of Diablo 2, but where it failed on the design of honestly Diablo 1 and Diablo 2. Because Diablo 2 was still very much like Diablo 1 in a lot of ways. So,
yeah, I overall enjoyed... I'm not sure how much I enjoyed going back to older games, but I really enjoyed going back to this game. And so much so that I want to kind of continue, at least through the first act, and then see where I go from there. Luke Ghislaine I've always hated Act 2.
Really? Act 2?
really
I don't
Act 2.
I like Act 2 just fine. Act 3 is the one I hate.
Oh, I really like Act 3.
I hate those jungles. God, I hate those jungles.
I hate the desert. I don't like desert worlds.
But then let's be honest, all we just want to do is get to Act 5, because Act 5 is amazing.
Yes, Act 5 is great. I think even Act 5 in Diablo 3 is good.
Act 5 in Diablo 3 is better than any of the other acts in Diablo 2.
Yeah, exactly.
Or Diablo 3.
Maybe it's an Act 5 thing.
Well, it's an expansion. They've had so much more time to tune it and adjust it and make it awesome. So...
Oh man, now I want to go to Act 5.
Yeah.
So that's our time with Diablo 2. My co-op weekend continued on Saturday night. My brother and I have this fortnightly co-op where 2 weeks ago I talked about we played The Division. I got him Game Pass for Christmas, so we're playing through some Game Pass games, and we both said taken a hard no on playing The Division ever again. So he decided he wanted to do his turn to pick Gears of War 4. I was like, cool, I haven't played the other Gears. I don't think it matters. So we load up Gears of War 4 on Saturday night, and we're going to play for like an hour. I think we played for 3, 2.5 maybe. It is... I think I may be falling away from first-person shooters because they just feel like corridor shooters or like shooting galleries. Like the shooting is just not super exciting to me. But some reason the story in this game, in a Gears of War game, is like really intriguing to me. Not so much the overarching, like this is the bad lady who's, I think the story is like based in after the events of Gears of War 3. The person who's taken over the government was a good person at one point, but now is a bad person, is kind of bringing in these demonic robots to basically attack the rebels or whatever. I don't know exactly the meta story. But your squad, like the interactions between the squad, just the bickering, the going back and forth, the small conversations as you're playing, like that moment to moment story in terms of the conversations is like really well written, like surprising. I was thinking it was going to be something like Halo, where I'm sorry, the Halo story in Halo does not intrigue me in the slightest. The conversations between the characters does not intrigue me at all. But this, for some reason, just felt really real. I don't know. They just seemed like normal people in a really fucked up situation. And just like they conveyed the sense that these characters have been together for a long time pretty quickly. And I don't know. I enjoyed it. And then just the mechanics are good. It's a good shooter. There's no friction. It just felt very smooth. And there's things to interact with in the environment. So it's not just quarter shooter, level after level after level. There's one where you're in an elevator going to different levels and trying to like get some information. It was like a briefcase or no. It was something called a generator or something, where it's basically like a device that you bring back to your base and it helps you create things like a turret or create guns, or you can buy guns out of it or whatever. It's a fabricator, I think is what it's called. So you had to go deep into this place, get the fabricator, and bring it back out. So it's kind of like I don't know what those missions are called, where you like have to escort something from one part of the map to another or whatever. It kind of felt like that, but it wasn't. It was more vertical than horizontal. And then there was the next level was like you're defending your base from the robot horde. So it's kind of like a horde mode in that moment. They vary up the gameplay enough in each level that we got to the end of one chapter and we were like, hey, do you want to do one more? And then we do it and we're like, hey, how about just one more? And we just did one more for like 2.5 hours when we were just going to play for an hour. And I was shocked. Like I didn't think I was going to enjoy Gears of War 4, but this is something that we do every 2 weeks. And my brother was like, hey, you want to play tomorrow night? I was like, I can't because I'm doing X, Y, or Z. But we wanted to get back to it pretty quickly, so we decided we're going to play next Saturday. So we're just going to do the next week. So we're going to finish it. It's really good. And I got to say, man, Game Pass has been great because you have just a menu of games that you've paid $10 a month, and we just look at it and say, let's choose this one. And I don't play with my brother that much. I don't talk to my brother that much. But this is something that we've been able to bond over the last couple of weeks, and it's given us something to come together and do, and just it's been really fun. So that was my co-op for Saturday night.
Yeah, did I play anything? So I should say I'm also under like incredible intense work pressure right now to get something to get a video done actually, and I'm in charge of the in-game captures. So I'm doing a lot of Unreal, like setting up different things in Unreal and then like doing cinematic captures of it and exporting those to be used in another video. And so most nights have actually been me doing that, which is not playing a game. It's been great, I must say. I do love making games, but man, it can be grueling sometimes when you're just trying to get this done. I need it done to get ready for final pitching and everything starting in like a week and a half.
Oh, dang. That's soon.
Yeah, it's happening. And so it's pretty crazy. So my actual game time has been pretty limited. I did play more Pokemon Let's Go with my daughter. Mm-hmm. We've been having a blast with that. She loves it. It's a great way to just spend time with her and like watch her excitement as she's capturing different Pokemon, and she knows so much more about them than I do, and it's great because she can teach.
She can teach you.
Yeah, she totally teaches me about like which the different Pokemon are, what they evolve into, who these different characters are, the whole thing. Like she knows, and she's gonna tell me, and it's great. So I spent time with that. I don't think it's really changed. I've been playing Dragalia Lost still, actually, quite a bit more. There's another group of friends who've been playing it pretty intensely. Mm-hmm. And so we talk a lot about it, so I continue to play it a lot more because of I can put like a half an hour. Now it actually seems to be like an hour a night, just kind of late at night when I'm sitting on the couch, just grinding through things, like trying to optimize teams and strategies and the whole thing, which is dumb because it's a gacha game and only just gets more powerful, but whatever.
You put, what, 10 hours or more?
Into Dragalia at this point?
Mm-hmm.
Probably more than 10. I don't know. I mean, yeah, probably putting about, I would say an average about 5 hours a week into it.
Dang, that's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, it just has stuff to do. I don't know. I think the only reason it's kind of compelling for me right now is because I have other people playing it, and we're really talking about our teams and like sharing screenshots of our team compositions and like talking strategies on how you would beat certain challenge levels and bosses, and they always have events coming up. Like there's an event that starts in 2 minutes from when we're recording right now. 10 o'clock PST is when things reset every day, and there's some event going on for the next week that starts tonight. So I'll find that out tonight, and I'm sure I'll get more things to do and collect. But it kind of gets back to I'm like, I play this, and then God, do mobile games get shit on so much right now.
They do when there are decent games.
And it's basically like, oh, it's just a mobile thing. I'm like, which I got at PopCap too when I was working there and we were doing mobile stuff. It was always seen as like, it's a lesser type of making games. And I'm like, it's not lesser. It's different. I'll give you that. But they're still very compelling experiences to be found there. And there are really bad experiences to be found there. But I really don't like this. Yeah, I really don't like
PS4.
These people that are just really talking about just crapping on it all the time and being like, can't believe this franchise is going there or doing this thing. I'm like, of course they are. The mobile market makes more money than console and PC combined at this point.
Plus, if you think about like return on investment that shareholders want, like if you put $100,000 into a game on PC or whatever and you earn $1 million versus put $100,000 on mobile and earn $50 million, they want that. You know, and I know that doesn't always make the best game. Like I was showing a friend here a mobile game, and he was like, he wouldn't even look at it. He's like, I don't play mobile games. Like, it's a fun game. You should check it out. No, I don't play mobile. All right, bro.
Yeah, I would say then you're not really. I mean, to me, I don't care where a game's at all. I'm looking for good experiences. I don't care if that's mobile. I don't care if console, PC. That's why I own a bunch of consoles and I own a PC.
Well, it's also about where you are, right? Like some days I'm only in a place where I can play my phone. So I'm going to play Mario Run. I'm going to play Reigns, you know?
Yeah. And there's really compelling experiences there. So,
which those people are missing out on them. And that's fine, whatever.
Yeah. Because they, for some reason, think that one medium is more relevant than another when it really isn't. And I would say, honestly, sorry, like, and if you want to go for the money thing of like, what's making more money? I'm not joking. mobile games make way more money than PC and console. Like, that's why everyone's shifting over to it, because not shifting, or at least putting franchises on phone, because they want a piece of that. Like, why are they letting over half the market, like 60% of the market, the gaming market, go away? Like, why aren't they capitalizing on that?
Well, I feel like that's part of what the issue is, where gamers who play on PS4 or console or PC are seeing resources go to mobile, and they're, I don't know, maybe worried about a future where that's the only place where people game because that's where the money's at. Because, again, it comes down to return on investment. Like, how much return on investment was there on Mass Effect Andromeda? And how much they spent on the thing, as opposed to if EA can, I think, was EA the one that did that Command and Conquer mobile thing? Maybe that made more money for them based upon what they put in.
I don't know how that did. Like, the reason why EA was putting stuff over there was because it was not worth it to develop for the PC. Right. They were not going to make money on those franchises anymore. People want those games. Like, you hear it from those people like, oh, I want a new Command and Conquer. I'm like, yeah, that market is tiny. The cost to make games is so expensive now for PC and console that your small niche market, like, doesn't pay for that. Like, it just doesn't. I'm sorry. We either be okay with a smaller game that doesn't look as good, or you're going to get it on different platforms that they can do it cheaper, or at least try to do something. So I don't know. There's definitely part of me that, because there was a few things I listened to and read this week that kind of set me off on the fact that I'm like, I'm really enjoying Dragalia Lost and this whole thing, and no one was calling that game out specifically, but there were just other people that were just shitting on mobile games, being like, they're terrible. Like, of course everyone's just upset because everything's going to mobile now and everything's coming for PC. I'm like, also, I've heard all these arguments before.
For years,
whenever console was the thing was, well, consoles are killing PC games. There won't be PC games anymore. Everything will just be on consoles, and PC games will just be ports of consoles and it'll suck. And I'm like, that was like 15 years ago that was going on. It hasn't happened. PC and consoles have had ebbs and flows the entire time, and we have great games across all of them. We have stuff that is PC exclusive. We have stuff that's console exclusive. It doesn't really matter. There's just been more games.
Well, I think the fear kind of gets saved by the fact that to play on the PC, the interface on a PC or a console makes the game different. So there's no way. I feel like it's really hard to replicate that on a mobile device, because I know you can have like a Bluetooth controller or whatever, but small screen, whatever, it doesn't seem the same. So games aren't going away. I mean, they're making more money than movies right now. Like, they're not going away.
No, they're not going to go away. Like, and your consoles and PC games aren't going to go away either. It's just not going to happen. Like, again, there'll be ebb and flows in the market. That's for sure.
Well, and also, like, obviously part of this comes down to, like, Diablo, how Diablo Mobile is seen. But for Blizzard or Activision or whatever to make a ton of money on the Diablo Mobile game, like in China or wherever, that money gets funneled back into Blizzard for them to make other games that we like. So it's not a zero-sum game. And I feel like people treat it like it is.
They do. They really do. They think that if this is happening over here, it's taking away from the thing that I really like, or it doesn't, like, and it's not zero-sum at all. So yeah, there's my rant. Sorry.
Yeah, no, no need to be sorry. It's really good discussion, and it's something that I feel like, for a lot of the reasons that we named, people are having those discussions, but also, like, it feels like it's almost like a casual versus, like, real gamer. Like, you're a real
I'm so
gamer
sick and tired of that crap.
I know,
but I mean, I was in that. That is the PopCap thing.
Yeah.
Oh, you don't make. Oh, you make pop. Those aren't. Oh, I guess they are. You made Peggle and, like, PBZ. Those are pretty cool. I'm like, yeah, they're just like, they had weirdly, PopCap had a certain reputation of, like, we made cool games even for hardcore gamers.
Right.
But we were still casual games. We called ourselves a casual games company. That's what we did. We made games that we wanted to focus, that were easy to play for everybody, even if they wouldn't call themselves a gamer, because that audience is much bigger, and we'd sell more games that way, and it worked.
Right.
It doesn't make the games bad, actually. We made a lot of really good games that people will say are really good. And
still play.
And it didn't detract from the hardcore side of things at all. Because maybe sometimes you don't want to play your super gory FPS intense thing. Maybe you just want to sit and shoot pegs and hear awesome music. Don't know.
I mean, games are designed for people to have fun. However you want to have fun with games, it all seems fine with me.
Yeah.
Speaking of games, a couple other games I played this week. Spider-Man, obviously. It's just fast, fluid. Traversal is great. Combat's great. Story's great. It's that blockbuster movie in video game form. For sure. I don't know are you more or less likely to play that game after watching Spider-Verse?
More. I went to look if it was still on sale.
Oh, nice. Okay.
I was like, is it on sale? I'm like, no, it's not right now.
It will be again for sure.
I know. That's why I'm like, I'll just wait. It's fine.
Yeah.
I do have to ask, is it blonde or brown-haired Peter Parker?
Mousy blonde? Like it's not like super blonde.
I'm like, is this which Peter Parker is this?
Good point. Just says Peter Parker, so I don't know. I think they're doing their own.
I assume it's their own
take, one of the many in the multiverse.
Yeah. I do know in Spider-Verse when they were panning around the costumes, the different suits.
Yeah.
The Insomniac suit was there in the case.
It was in the in the
shot down in the cave or whatever the hell it is under the shed. When they're panning through all the different suits, you can see the Insomniac suit there.
Whoa, okay. I didn't notice that. There's so much I didn't notice. It was so fast. But so I've been playing Spider-Man. Gonna keep digging away at that. Started Luminous on the Switch.
Oh, cool.
Which is just like such a different puzzle game than Tetris.
Oh god, I played Luminous a long time ago, but I played it. I love Luminous.
Oh, it's really good. Like you get in the flow state so quickly in that game. So I'm all over that game.
Follow that beat. Get into that beat.
Yep. Mm-hmm. And then last thing, probably a couple of, but the last thing I'll mention is I continued playing one of the games on my list about the 12 games this year that I started a previous year and want to freaking finish this year, and it was Link to the Past. And I played probably an hour and a half or 2 hours, got through the first dungeon, I guess, get the Pendant of Courage or whatever. Yep. So got to the boss, which was like 6 knights that were bouncing around and had to attack them. And I didn't think they were the boss. I thought they were like the gatekeeper to the boss. But when I beat them, I got the pendant. I got the pendant. I was like, oh, I guess that was it.
Yep.
So I got 2 more to do. So apparently you beat those 3 and then the game's over.
Exactly. That's it. That's Zelda. Done.
But in terms of, I know that once you get the sword, I guess, or the 3 pendants, and you get the sword, then you go to the Dark World eventually. Is it another 3 things in Dark World too?
That. It's quite a bit more. It's like, I can't remember how many things. It's crystals at that point.
Mm.
And it's not the 3. It's that you revisit those 3, but I think there's a few more. So it's bigger. There's more to do.
Right. But it's fun. I mean, I really like Link Between Worlds, and I know that was based off of this world. So so far so good. Enjoying that as well. And it's just been, I've had quite a bit of time this week to play games actually, so it's been a pretty fun week. That's cool. Yeah. Anything else that you want to discuss this week?
No, I think I'm good. I'm ranted out.
Yeah, totally. Well, that has been episode 174 of Prof and Dev Play Games. If you like what we're doing, check us out on Patreon, Prof and Dev Play Games. If you search that, you'll find us. Basically $1. Get your name and a little short message on the show during the month, and $5 a month gets you to ask a question that we'll talk about and discuss on the show. So check us out over there. Support us. Any excess money that we raise there goes to Child's Play at the end of the year. And then if you like us, please tell a friend about our podcast. We're enjoying pretty good numbers, and we'd like all of you to say to some other friend who likes video games, hey, check out this video game podcast. Also rate us on the podcast service of choice. It really helps us with visibility. So that's our show. Next week we will be here to talk about the Nintendo Direct. That's not going to happen.
Probably not.
People are still hoping, but I seriously doubt that's happening.
They're hoping.
They had that Twitter Direct.
I'm sure there's going to be some crazy news, because it seems like that's the state of things right now. Is every day there's something crazy. So
yeah, so far so weird.
Yes.
All right, my friends, thanks for listening. We'll see you next week.
All right, later everyone.